Oh, go on, Alex. Please.
I don't want to write a paper with you.
Oh, please.
No,
Why not?
I'm too busy. I've got other papers to write.
We got on so well together when we wrote our paper on nudge and freedom.
Yeah, you're right, we did, but I'm too busy. I'm trying to finish my book.
I wrote that reference for you.
Okay. Okay. I'll write a paper with you. What do you even want to write about?
How about manipulation? You know, when one person gets another person to do what they don't really want to do. We often cause people to take on new beliefs or take actions they would not otherwise have believed or done had we not intervened. Now, often, of course, this would not always be considered manipulation. Lecturers don't typically manipulate students when they impart knowledge or teach new techniques to their students. If you can persuade someone to change their attitude on some topic, you've not necessarily manipulated them. Now, one way of thinking about this is to suggest that if the reasons that we call E, or E stands for evidence, why the persuader, who we call the agent, believes some proposition P, are also the reasons why the person persuaded, who we call the target, comes to believe proposition P, then the pertinent cause of the target believing P is the evidence E. Now, to be sure, the agent imparting the information is certainly part of the causal story. However, if the target is persuaded, it's the evidence E that's the pertinent cause of the target's belief. However, if the agent causes the target to believe P based on reasons that the agent themselves does not believe or considers to be pertinent to the belief in P, then we might think that the agent has manipulated the target. Now, these spurious reasons might simply be lies, or there might be emotional or coercive prompts that lead the target to change in their behavior or their beliefs. Now, the issue is a bit more complicated than this, because much of what we believe we take on trust. For example, a doctor might have very good reasons for prescribing a certain drug for our condition, but we don't really know what those those reasons for prescribing the certain drug are. We don't know what the doctor's reasons are. We just trust the doctor has good reasons. However, we don't think in these cases the doctor's manipulating us. So the reasons that the target assents to just have to be ones she would assent to if she fully grasped what the agent knows, if she had the expertise of the doctor, say. Or those reasons are ones that people in a chain of persuading from some initial agent down the line would assent to. In the light of these thoughts, we've developed two conditions for non-manipulative persuasion that tries to capture this idea. The first are suitable reasons. The reasons E that the agent offers to the target to assent to proposition P are also suitable for the agent as reasons for the agent to assent to P, even if the agent has other reasons not to so assent. The second condition is testimonial honesty. The agent must intend to provide relevant and truthful information to the target and not to hide information pertinent to the agent's intentions. A large part of our article, and two earlier ones where I first introduced these conditions, are defending them against objections and demonstrating why both conditions are required to understand non-manipulative persuasion.
The main contribution of our paper, called Manipulation in Politics and Public Policy, is to show how we might apply these conditions. Specifically, we want to know when politicians or governments, bureaucrats or corporations manipulate their audience, how manipulative a given claim or policy is, and how morally bad a given instance of manipulation is. We invite you to look to the paper for our many examples and applications. Some of the highlights include manipulative political speeches on topics like global warming, gerrymandering, the organization of products on supermarket shelves, and the design of public restrooms. A topic we consider in some detail is nudging. In their popular book Nudge, Richard Taylor and Cass Sunstein define nudges as any aspect of choice architecture that alters people's behavior in a predictable way, without forbidding any options or significantly changing their economic incentives. Here, for example, the healthier options have been placed prominently at eye level in order to make them more appealing to consumers. Here, the paper towel dispenser has chosen a vivid way to represent deforestation and the waste that comes from using excessive paper. Finally, here, the nudge is designed so that as drivers approach a more dangerous turn, the lines are drawn closer together, tempting drivers to slow down and therefore avoid entering the dangerous curve at a high speed. All of these constitute examples of nudging. Do nudges really manipulate? It depends. In the paper, we distinguish between what we call communicative nudges and situational nudges. Communicative nudges can avoid manipulation provided they meet our conditions. Situational nudges are a little more complicated. These are cases where an agent arranges the situation so that the target ends up believing a particular proposition or choosing some course of action. For example, the cafeteria owner might organize food in the cafeteria with healthy options at eye level, and in order to nudge people into choosing healthier food. Or an election official might list their favorite candidate first on the ballot in order to make the name more salient and to influence the votes of absent-minded voters. We argue in the paper that situational nudges need to be disclosed in order to avoid manipulation. Without an accompanying statement explaining the reasons for the situational nudge, we cannot guarantee that the relevant conditions for manipulation have been met. But not all undisclosed situational nudges are similarly manipulative. The degree of manipulation matters. We outline one approach for assessing how manipulative a given nudge can be. This requires constructing what we call a hypothetical disclosure. You can think of this as an honest statement that the choice architect would give for her action. So in the case of the cafeteria nudge, the cafe owner might say something like, "We have put the healthy food at eye level in order that you're more likely to buy and eat healthy." Or in the case of a real practice called slotting that supermarkets often use, a supermarket manager might say, "We've placed some products at eye level because we were paid by their manufacturers to do so." These hypothetical disclosure statements help us determine the degree of manipulation. Would the agent be comfortable with publicizing such a statement? Then manipulation is probably minimal. Would publishing the hypothetical disclosure cause embarrassment or discomfort? Then a higher degree of manipulation has likely occurred. Moreover, the hypothetical disclosures help us to consider whether targets would accept the reasons for the situational nudge if they were truthfully given. Here's another reason to check out our paper. This one's the last one. We end by sketching a procedure for analyzing any particular instance of putative manipulation. First, we use our two conditions to determine whether manipulation has in fact occurred. Second, we use our hypothetical disclosure test to determine the degree of manipulation. And third and finally, we look to the preference of the target to determine how harmful the manipulation is. If the target values autonomy highly, then even mildly manipulative interventions may be regarded as morally unacceptable. If the target values welfare highly, then one might have more moral leeway to appeal to minimally manipulative but welfare-enhancing situational nudges.
So, Alex, are you happy we wrote that paper in the end?
Oh, sure.
I didn't manipulate you into writing it then.
Oh, not at all. I was always happy to write it. Indeed, are you sure I didn't subtly manipulate you into writing it long before you even thought about writing about this topic?